Happy Sunday. Welcome to Watching the W here on the Four Frequencies Sake Network. We are here to talk a little WNBA action. It's been a little while since we chatted with y'all. Wanted to pop in and kind of bring things up to speed as to what has been going on. Talk a little bit about standings, Commissioner's Cup, action on and off of the court, and all that kind of fun stuff. So I wanted to hit that up real quick. Just to let you all know kind of what's been going on and just to check in and say hi. So just to bring you up to date real quick, we are into June. The Commissioner's Cup started here about a week ago. I should have probably done a preview show for that, but it's basically everybody just play everybody anyway, and they just play with a special ball. I do like the Commissioner's Cup. I do like that it's just like a set period as opposed to the random games that the MNBA does. But for what we've got, I really like it. It's good. You can really just kind of see the competitive nature just because they allow you to change some stuff there. But like it, really enjoy it. Been enjoying the games that I've been able to see this week, the last couple of weeks here. Obviously, don't get to catch every single game, but I do catch a lot of them and have been enjoying the action that has been on the court. There have been some clunkers in there, not going to lie about that. There's been some rough going for some teams, and then there has been some really good going for a couple of teams. So we want to kind of discuss all of those. But the first thing I want to talk about is I was watching the Connecticut Sun game the other night, and they were talking about how Marina Mabrey's role has changed with this team. Now she's asked to be kind of the number one on this team. She's asked to be the leader, a role that she hasn't had before. Yes, she was probably the best player in Chicago, but she wasn't asked to kind of like rally the troops and be kind of the veteran presence, the voice of the team there. And she's being asked to do that in Connecticut. It's a new role for her. She's growing into that. The Sun coach was talking about that. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about how it's a challenge for her. It's something new for her. It's a place that she has to grow and expand. And we've seen her trying to control her emotions. We all know Marina is an emotional player. It's part of why we love her, because not only will she knock down a crazy three, she'll also lose her damn mind on occasion. So she's trying to rein that in a little bit, make sure that she's setting that example and keeping her wits about her in tense moments because her team needs her to do that. They've got a bunch of young players on that team. They've got 2 draft picks and a bunch of undrafted players. They're all getting big minutes right now. So she's really got to kind of be that voice of, this is how we play in the WNBA, guys. And so it's interesting to see kind of that growth there. Is she perfect at it? No. But anytime that you're asked to take on a new role in anything, you're not going to succeed day one. I think that's all grace we all have to give ourselves, me especially. Just to say, hey, this is a new thing for me. I'm not going to be perfect at it day one. There's going to be some bumps and some bruises and some growing pains along the way. And so that's what we're seeing. So we'll see her start to do her Marina crash outs, as everybody likes to watch. And then you'll see, whoa, my chair just fell on me. Then you'll see her catch herself and go, oh, yeah, I need to have my shit together for this moment. So we see that. And so it's growth. And it's positive, and we'll see where she is at the end of the season. But right now, she's being asked to do that. She's willing to try and do that. That's one of the reasons why they said they didn't want to trade her, was that they wanted her to be the leader of this team, and they wanted her to have that kind of that leadership role. And so now we're going to see how she is. We'll take another check-in here at the end of at the first half of the All-Star break, and then we'll take another check-in on that at the end of the season and kind of see how things progress there. But Early returns look okay, again, but never not going to be perfect. But we'll see how she gets there. But she's doing okay. I guess is the best way to put that. Next up after that, the big news of the last couple of weeks was the injuries to Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark. Paige Beckers should be back today if you're listening to this on Sunday, if you're watching live. If you're not, if you're listening on Monday, Paige is supposed to be playing here today, here on Sunday. So we'll see how she comes back, how she's going to react. She had a concussion. She was missed, I think, 3 games. I think she was scheduled to miss 2, and I think she ended up missing 3. When it comes to concussions, I'm always like, take as much time as you need. You don't need to be messing with people's brains. So take as much time as you need. Get out there. When you're ready to go, you're ready to go, not before. So they're saying she's going to be ready to go now. We're going to see how she performs today. Hopefully, fingers crossed, she's going to play pretty well. The Wings really kind of need her. We've really seen them kind of be disorganized. There's a lot of, how do we put this nicely, chaos on the offensive end. They seem to play okay on the defensive end, but offensively, man, they cannot get it together without her. And I don't know kind of what's going on down there. Some of the folks that do like the Dallas podcasts are all like, they want to get rid of Koklanis already. They want to trade Enrique, and I'm like, just hang on, guys. You've played 10 games. You're a quarter of the way into the season. 1/11th, I guess, into the season, or 1/4. Yeah, 25. You're 25% of the way into the season. You basically played 10 of 44 games. You're missing the number 1 overall draft pick, who's a generational player. You've got a brand new coach. You've got basically a brand new starting lineup minus Enrique. It's going to take you some time to figure it all out. That said, it is not a pleasant watch a lot of nights. They might hang with somebody for a half, a quarter, and then the doors come off and the wheels just kind of fall off. So I don't know what the solution is because I'm not watching every single second of their games, and obviously I'm not in the practices. But much like what we're going to talk about here in a second with Chicago, very similar type things. There doesn't seem to be a lot of organization and a lot of leadership and a lot of structure on the offensive end, and somebody needs to step up and be like, yo, this is what we need to do. Now, looking at Chicago, they played last night. They got the doors blown off of them in the United Center against the Fever without Caitlin Clark. And I've seen some folks that said, God, I wouldn't want to see this game last night with Caitlin at the controls. On top of that, they lost Sloot. Haven't heard, obviously, it's some type of knee injury. It's probably pretty bad. They pulled their wife, Allie Quigley, out of the stands and brought her back in the locker room last night. That was the last update that we got, other than she wasn't going to play the rest of the night. But we don't want to use the 3 letters that we're all fearing that it is. We're just hoping that she just twisted it really bad or something. But it's not good. It's not looking good. But hope that she gets better quickly. But the fact remains that even with Sloot on the floor, they were still having offensive struggles. The spacing was bad. Nobody seems to know where they need to be. They're taking bad shots. They're taking weird shots. They're not playing. They should be playing inside out. You have 2 dominant post players. Your first pass should be down at the block to Camilla or to Angel and allow them to kick it back out. And it's not happening. And even when they are kicking it, throwing it down into the block, like there's so much congestion, and then there's strips and blocks, and it's just something's not working on the offensive end of the floor for the Sky. And I don't know what it is. Now, I've heard people yelling for Tyler Marsh's head already too. And I'm like, guys, it's been a quarter of the season. You have to give it time to work. And I don't know if they are. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the solution is, but obviously losing a Hall of Fame point guard in Courtney Vandersloot is not going to help the situation. Now, maybe they can sign if she's truly hurt and out for the rest of the year. Obviously, they can sign a hardship contract, but there's not a lot of good scoring point guards wandering around out there. Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark are not walking through that door to lead the Chicago Sky team. At best, you're hoping for an Ari McDonald, who was one of the reasons that they got their butts beat yesterday. So maybe if when Caitlin comes back that the Fever release Ari McDonald and the Sky throw as much money as they can at her, maybe she goes and signs and that helps. I don't know. Maybe Haley Van Lith hits a lightning in a bottle moment, and all of a sudden she jumps and becomes that superstar guard that they need her to be. I don't know. There's a lot more questions than there are answers up in Chicago right now, and it's not looking real good. I even saw somebody saying that they were tanking today, and as the person who responded to that pointed out, they're like, what's the point in tanking? They don't even have their own first round pick next year. They gave that to Minnesota to get, can't remember who. Oh, it was the pick swap to move up to get Van Lith. So it doesn't even do them any good to tank. So even if they would tank and end up with the number one overall pick, that's going to Minnesota. So for whatever good that does you. And that's just what they need is Lauren Betts or Azzy Fudd up in Minnesota. Just another piece to thump you over the head with. So struggles in Dallas, struggles in Chicago. Not looking real great in either of those places. The Sun, not looking real great there either. So you got kind of the bottom three teams. Those are probably your bottom three teams not looking real great. Here, hopefully they can find some footing and kind of get it going. The Sun seem to be, of those three teams, the team closest to kind of like turning a corner, but I don't know. We're going to see how things play out here towards the end of the Commissioner's Cup and into July with those. Another team that is, I don't know, I wouldn't call them that. But next team I want to talk about real quick is the Mystics out in Washington. They are also basically have a brand new team and a brand new coach, but they are playing much, much better. I believe they're 3-5 heading into today. Let me look right there. They're 3-6 heading into today. But those 6 losses, they were in every single one. They will fight you to the end. They have been super impressive. Kiki Iriafen is all that in a bag of burritos. At this point, I will tell you that she is today my leader for Rookie of the Year. Just because Paige has missed some time with the concussion, and that is no fault to Paige whatsoever, but Kiki has been playing lights out as a first-year post player. We've already seen her not take shit from a couple of folks who like to be the bully in the sandbox, as Stacey King would call them, and she's not backing down from those folks. So I really like her game. I really think that she's done. I think that she's playing really, really well here early on. And if she keeps it up, I could see her making a strong case to be Rookie of the Year. Now, Paige comes back and does Paige Beckers-like things. Paige is probably going to win it, kind of like we thought. Caitlin was kind of the de facto one last year. But with Paige being out, Kiki's made a strong enough case that I think that gap has closed significantly. So I could see that being a 2-horse race. Obviously, she has Sonia Citron, who has played really well as well. So you've got a couple of youngsters kind of feeding off each other. Now, that may take away – there's always that, they're going to steal votes from each other case at the end of the year. We'll deal with that when we get there. But for right now, my money, if I had to vote today, if the voting closed today, there would be my money would be on Kiki Iriafen. All right. Another team I wanted to discuss real quick is the Dream. They are playing okay basketball. They are currently technically the third best team in the league at 5-3. But they just got Jordan Canada back yesterday. They've been 5-3 is about, it's kind of up and down a little bit. They haven't looked great. There's been some talk as to they've been playing Brittany Griner and Bree Jones together, and there's been talk of benching one or the other to bring in the other one with the second unit just to get some more balance in there. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like the way that they're playing together, but again, I am not Coach Schmesko. I'm not in control of those things, but for a game or two, try it. See what I know. BG sat for a couple of games for load management. I think they had a back-to-back or a 3 and a 4 or something, and they sat her. And Bree Jones kind of held her own down there. Maybe if the opportunity arises, Bree Jones gets an ankle tweak and she misses a game, you can kind of see how it goes the other way with BG starting without her. Obviously, and you can play with those scenarios in practice as well. So maybe they're seeing it in practice and maybe they don't like what they're seeing. Maybe it disrupts the flow or it doesn't give them the mismatch that they want. The problem with that is that I'm going to call them the top three, the backcourt of Canada, Alicia Gray, and Ryan Howard want to get out and run. And then you got Bree Jones and BG kind of slowing it down, needing to play the half-court game. So you've got kind of a mix of styles there. So, I think that's contributing to a little bit too of, hey, if we want to get out and run and up the pace, we're going to have to sit one of the bigs. Do we want to do that, or do we want to continue to kind of play this half-court pace, which slows down, two of our all-stars and a third really good player? So, you've really kind of got to find the balance there. So we'll see kind of how those things play out here in the next couple of weeks. I know I keep saying that, but that's really kind of where we are in the season. Is we're at the quarter pole essentially, and we can kind of see where teams are. Teams are starting to pull away. So two teams at the top of the league are clearly the Lynx and the Liberty. Both are 8-0, seem to be on an inevitable collision course to meeting in the finals. They are both undefeated, and basically the way that the schedules lay out, if they would remain undefeated, they will meet each other in the Commissioner's Cup finale, and that will be the first time one of them will take a loss. And then they will meet again until, I want to say that it's like late in the season. I want to say it's like August, like late July, early August, something crazy, but that they won't meet again. So you've got these two teams that are clearly like just beating the pants off everybody else. And so that's become kind of, and then they're not going to play until really late, except for if they would run into each other in the Commissioner's Cup championship game. So really kind of interesting to see how those two teams are playing. Obviously, the Lynx are brought back. Pretty much everybody are running it back and are looking really, really good there. The Liberty swapped out Sluty for Natasha Cloud, and Cloud has fit into that team like a dream, or like a Liberty, I suppose. But she has just been just a piece that has just worked so well for them. And in that starting five, then you've got five players who are all capable of knocking down the three at any given point. They all have the green light, and they become such a matchup nightmare because you can't leave somebody to double somebody. Like last year when Sluty was starting, she was struggling a little bit, and obviously there was reasons for that. But you could technically leave her and double off of her and go double Sabrina if Sabrina was hot that game, or go double Stewie or whatever. The way that this team is structured now, those five, you can't leave somebody to double somebody else because they'll just step out and knock down a three or take it to the rack. they're really kind of a complete team. And then Minnesota, not to slight them at all, they are a team on a mission. They have one goal and one goal in mind. That is, we are going to win the championship, and we are going to smash everybody who comes in our way. We are. That is our only focus. That is our only goal. We do not care about personal awards. We do not care about margin of victory. We do not care about anything else. We have one goal in mind. That is to win the title, and we will take on all comers and dump the living snot out of you on the way. So they're playing really, really well. The one game they even struggled with, they were down 15, lit it up, and ended up winning by, I think, 18 in that game. So they are capable of fighting that extra gear when they need it. So they are an entertaining watch. But again, we've got kind of the two Titans at the top of the table with the Liberty and the Lynx. Like I said, Dream is next at 5-3. The Mercury, which we haven't talked a lot about, they've lost AT for a little bit. So they're really playing with one hand behind their back and a bunch of undrafted rookies. They're 6-4. The surprises next are the Aces at 4-3 and the Storm at 5-4. Aces yesterday just got, as Becky Hammon said, got their asses kicked by Golden State in a game that was never close. I was out and about yesterday. I didn't get to watch the game at all, but it was just crazy when I would check the score and I'm like, oh, they're down 10. Oh, they'll come back from that. And then it was like, they're 15. And then it was 20. And then it was 30. And I'm like, what the is going on out there? Just because you expect a team with that many good players to, be in every game, and they just simply weren't. I don't know what is going on. There's been a lot of speculation online about Becky Hammon's style isn't working and she's being inflexible, that basically they're trying to win it with 4 stars and a bunch of, we'll call them other pieces. And they're not taking the time to develop kind of the backups. And again, we don't know what's happening in practice, but the folks who seem to be able to find a spark aren't getting a lot of playing time. Liz Kitley and who's the other one? Let me look real quick, see if I've got on the roster can jog my poor memory. Of course, you wouldn't show me their roster. That would be too easy. WNBA site. Team roster. Aaliyah Nye has been the one that when she comes off the bench, she'll knock down a bunch of threes, but they've been in like garbage time. And so people are like, let's see what she can do in some real minutes. And I've kind of agree with that. At some point, Becky Hammon has to start saying, all right, what I'm doing isn't working. Again, Becky knows more about basketball than I do, than I ever will. But for my money, I would start rolling the dice on Aaliyah Nye as well. And we'll see kind of what that looks like. But for me, they really need to maybe make some type of change. I'm not saying change up the starting lineup, but maybe change up those rotations or give some folks who are maybe a little bit further down the bench some minutes. It's the same Billy Donovan problem, right? Like Billy Donovan on the Bulls. If you're a rookie, you're not going to see the floor unless it's a blowout, which isn't always conducive. And again, they know what's going on in the practice. They see things behind the scenes. But I'm like, you draft a guy, you pay a guy, or in this case, you draft a woman, you pay a woman. If you ain't on the team, or if you're on the team, you should be able to contribute. And if you don't trust them to contribute, they shouldn't be on the team, is typically my thought. So I'm all of throw some darts at it, see what works, is my personal opinion. Next down is Seattle. I don't know. Seattle's got some quote-unquote turmoil going on there. We're going to take a quick Quick drink real quick. Lee Yuru has asked for a trade. Evidently, there was a quote-unquote incident where the Storm, evidently an assistant coach or someone, yelled at or had words with a former Storm player after a game. The league was supposedly, somebody said it was an investigation, somebody says it wasn't, whatever. But so there's a little bit of drama going on there, so it's kind of curious to see how that's going to do. That said, Dominique Malonga has been getting some minutes. She hasn't been getting a ton of minutes, but she's been getting consistent minutes, and she's really been playing pretty well. Really, I think they've really got something there. Again, she's 19 and she's going to take some time to develop, but if they bring her along correctly, I think that she's got a chance to really be a really good player in this league. And then obviously you've got your big dogs up top in NECA and Skylar and Ezzy looking to carry that team. So we'll see kind of how see where they're going to go here in the next week or so. They're a team that could catch fire and kind of push up there. Next down is the Fever at 4-4. Again, they missed Caitlin Clark for a couple of games already. I think they're 5-5. I think they dropped their first two and have won their last two. So they're kind of right on pace with those. Valkyries at 3-5. That's been kind of everybody's surprising team. They've kind of expected, not as much. They've had a couple of good wins. Obviously, their best win is probably yesterday. I know they've also knocked off the Sparks, and I think the Mystics are their 3 wins. But they're a bunch of really good players. Maybe not really good, but they're a bunch of good players that if they had the cap space to land a superstar in free agency, whoever that may be, could really take a step really quickly. They look like they're starting to gel and figure it out. So they'll be an interesting watch here in the next couple of weeks. And then the rest of the teams we talked about, I think the only team we haven't talked about yet is the Sparks. They're 3-6. Should be getting Cam Brink back here pretty soon. They lost Ray Burrell to a knee injury. So that, which I was really disappointed about because she was looking like she was about ready to hit the accelerator in Unrivaled. So really hate to see that for her growth. But hopefully they get her and Brink back by the end of the season and really kind of see what they can do. Kelsey Plums looked really good with them. Sarah Ashley Barker has been playing really well as a rookie. More of kind of that role player. She's not going to be she's not Kelsey Plum, let's put it that way. But for her role of rebounding and setting screens and scoring, 8 to 10 points a game, she's playing really, really well there. So, and then obviously you've got, excuse me, Dearica Hamby down low as well. So that Sparks team, there's a lot of good pieces. We'll see kind of how they figure things out here in the next couple of weeks. We want to see them kind of advance with that. But again, next couple of weeks I think are going to be very interesting as we head into July. Probably won't come back until the 4th, July the 4th. Probably will be our next show just to kind of see kind of how things shake out. I might do a preview show before the Commissioner's Cup title game, especially if it's going to be the Lynx and the Liberty in that matchup. But at least wanted to pop on, kind of talk to folks, see kind of what things are going on out there, and then just kind of check in and kind of get you caught up while we were waiting for the games to start today. So as always, thank you to everyone who watches, tunes in, downloads, and interacts with us on both Threads and Blue Sky. You can always catch us on those 2 places. But make sure you reach out and say, hey, we will be opening up the Toys for Tots sign up for the Fantasy Football League signups here pretty soon. I think we usually do that in August. We've got some fun tweaks coming this year. if you're interested in sponsoring those, we are always looking for sponsors. And they don't have to be football related sponsors either. If you want to, if you're a season ticket holder to the Fever, to the Sky, to the whatever, to anybody, and they're like, hey, I'm willing to give up a couple of tickets, something like that. We're happy to take basketball related things. Not that anybody would ever do that, but just an example of it doesn't have to be a football related thing. We're happy to take whatever type of sponsors we can for that. We're always looking to grow those things. Hoping to get a couple hundred teams this year. That's kind of our goal. I think we raised $2,000 last year, looking to raise $3,000 to $4,000 this year. So want to make sure that kids have a happy Christmas. So we want to make sure that we highlight that as well. But again, want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And we will see you back in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much. Until next time, I'm Doug. See ya. Bye-bye.